If you're not ready for success, step aside for the person who is, by James Whittaker. If you're not ready for success, step aside for the person who is, by James Whittaker. You know, I found this morning as I was reading one of my books. And I was honestly, as I was reading it, I identified that the reality behind it is quite true. How often do we sit back and we wait for someone else to take charge? Take charge for activities we're actually should be accountable for, some of our own activities. Now, some people can say, well, Bill, this is pretty brutal. Well, it's meant to be. It's meant to take action. It's meant to say, okay, how are we moving forward? Because right now we're at the end of February. We are in the end of February. And what have we done so far? What have we not done? Most importantly, what do we need to still work on? That's my point with success. What's holding you back on moving that needle forward for you? It's like, Bill, you're talking all new words to me. Well, I'm not. When you think about what your goals and objectives are, we've been talking about this for months. Identify with you how to further strive and drive yourself forward. Need some additional coaching? Fine, let's talk about it. Let's make it happen. But really, when it's all said and done, you're the only one that can help make your dreams a reality. What is that dream? What's your plan? See, we've talked about roadmaps. We do roadmap sessions. I've been doing it once a month here in February, which I'm more than happy to do if you want to have more breakdown behind that. But also, what are you defining as success? See, maybe you got the credentials. That's great. Now what? Because those credentials only is a piece of paper saying, okay, you've learned something. How are you applying it? That's the part that's important. See, whenever I talk to practitioners, I hear them every week. And if you want to be part of that, you'll see a link in a few minutes talking about how you can do your one-on-one session with me. But I hear about, okay, everyone's overwhelmed. We're looking for a new job, frustrated with management, frustrated with leadership, frustrated team members. Don't feel alone. We all have that problem. I've had that problem too. But it's being able to say, so what? What I mean by the so what factor is, okay, so let's happen. Everybody has these problems. What's our core focus that we need to be focused on in order for us to succeed? See, 2023, we're now 8 to 9 weeks into it. We still have 10 months to go before the end. So we have plenty of runway. But before we know it, December 31st will be here. I can count on it, speaking from experience. And when you think about this, you want to think about how much you want to succeed in reaching those goals. So there's a quote I found recently also. When you want to succeed as bad as you breathe, you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And only then you'll be successful. I thought that was an awesome quote. See, the passion we have to have, and I'll read that again. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. You think about that. Something you've always wanted. Maybe it's a significant other, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a guy you're looking for, maybe it's a gal. I have no idea. And I'm not trying to be sexist or racial. Maybe it's your child and you're supporting them. Think about something you've done in the last 6 to 12 months. You just really, it happened. Okay, now take that same passion, success, what you're feeling right now. What's the one thing you can work on this year or even this week that you can achieve? Just work this week. Don't worry about the year. Work this week that you can achieve and have the same satisfaction and gratification. That's what I'm talking about. That's the experience where you're able to move this forward. I mean, do I have struggles like you do? I do. It might be in different form, but we all struggle similarly. We all struggle as far as how we look at adversity, how we deal with industry, how we deal with credentials that don't mean anything, Don't get me started on that. That's a different discussion. But really identify with practitioners so you're successful. That's why I'm here. This is why I'm doing this. I want you to be successful, because what I'm finding is when it comes to practitioners, whether it's a consulting or an actual button seat practitioner, we're all struggling the same way. And we're going to, because we're very interchangeable. We're very interchangeable. But that also is where we have an asset. And our asset is our ability to function with our success as we are. See, we're already successful because we are where we are today. Don't focus on everything. Focus on what you're really good at. See, we've been talking about that the entire time. Focus on what you're really good at and continue being really good at it. If you can add more to your plate, great. Maybe you've advanced that part. Congratulations if you have. Not everybody can do that, and it's okay if you can't. There's nothing wrong with that. That means you have a skill set in your certain niche. See, what I'm seeing today with practitioners is they've taken all this on. And job descriptions will do it too. I see them all the time, all the time. And the first thing I see when someone asks me about the job description, say, okay, we want to do software licensing, plus all the process, plus all the reporting, plus all this, and plus additional task. We want to do hardware asset management. We want to do compliance reporting, et cetera. And I go, really? So how many people are you hiring for the role? One, I said, and how are you going to make this person successful? I've done it several times now. The managers don't know how to respond. They put all percentages on the task. That's great. But what's the reality behind it? Because the one thing they want versus asking on the other point, and if you're doing interviews, here's a good task for yourself, saying of the outline you have here, what are you the most successful at today? And what do you want to further add to your repertoire to be successful tomorrow? That's the secret sauce I'll give you. Because with that, you're actually not, you're going to make demands with a job description, which I have to say, making demands doesn't get you anywhere. Saying, okay, I need this task to be done. But also provides validation. Your expectation is actually able to be delivered. That's typically where the problem happens in our communication, in our roles, is identifying, okay, what's possible versus what's not. Identifying where you're able to persevere and where you're going to need help. See, when you think about this, it makes your job a little bit easier, quite a bit easier, when you realize that you're already successful being in your role. If you're brand new to the community, welcome. There's a way you got here. I appreciate you being here. We need you. We need you in this community. We need you from the perspective of to be more players for IT asset management, software asset management, configuration management. And if you have a hybrid, great, that's even better, because there are not many of those. But my point behind that is there's a reason why you got here. Maybe it's financial benefits. You saw someone else making money out of it. Great. I'll be honest, it should not be just a financial play. It should be a passion. And that's what I'm more than happy to help with, to figure out what your passion is. I'm not saying there should not be financial rewards out of it. Everybody should have something, but it should not just be financially focused, which is the problem in today's society. My point is, I want you to make what you can. I also want you to realize what you're really good at, you're proficient in, so you're able to go that next step. See, I'll give an example. I got had a one-on-one session with a practitioner the other week. Great guy, phenomenal. And he wanted to further expand himself in software asset management. I said, okay, fine, let's figure it out. Yeah, after talking to him, I found his real skill set was working with the data. Being a data detective, understanding what's under the nuances, learning how he knew how to normalize data. He did things that you cannot teach in the classroom. It is not in any type of certification. None. Nor should it be. Why do I say such a thing? Is because, I'm going to go tangent and be right back. Because when you think about the data, there's a lot of complexities as well as diversity as far as the data that's being managed in each environment. It's going to be. Anyways, back to the story. So after discussing with him, he said, well, I wanted to take on these additional tasks. I said, the task you need to work on is working on how to sell yourself better with the value you already provide on the table. He's done this type of work and massaging, et cetera, for over 5 years. And I told him, I said, if I had a role available to you on my staff, I'd hire you in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Because you know how to work with data, not just report upon it, not just look at data attributes, but you knew how to do the detective work and normalize, et cetera. That's more powerful than any type of certification you're going to get out there. I'm just calling it out. We think about what we can do and what we can't. Think about what we look at within asset management, software asset management, configuration management. Keep in mind, we talk about people, process, technology, and the governance around it. But think about the data at the heart of it. And the data doesn't just happen. Sometimes I was having a discussion with a fellow colleague last week. Well, it all starts with the data. It's like, sort of. Unless you understand the other aspects, the data doesn't exist. It's not a chicken and egg. It's being able to understand what you are doing, what you're focusing, what you need to have occur prior to persevering and moving forward. When you understand that and the business need behind what you're doing from the overall discipline, then you can determine what data you need to manage. Sure, there's a lot of similarities. Absolutely are. But the reality is, until you overcome that, understand the basics, I wouldn't bring in the data. Sure, you can look at it, but I wouldn't bring it in. I'll give an example. We're trying to finish this up. Last example. Most of the CMDBs today, the configuration management databases, have to be replaced when they are first brought online. Most are redeployed 2 to 3 times before they're actually successful. Industry stat, it's out there, it's been there for a couple of years. Why is that? Is because they pull in all the inventory data into the configuration management database and they do not manage it. They do not understand what's in there, how it's being used, what's actually needed prior to pulling in discovery data. If you understand your business need for the configuration management and what you need for your attributes to your configuration items, then you can have a more prescriptive approach to making sure you do not have to have a CMDB redo. The same holds true with asset management and software asset management. You can say, I need all this data. So what? It's going to help with compliance, maybe. But what are some additional parts do you need to add to that? I'm not saying to get analysis paralysis. I'm not saying that at all. But fundamentally, what are you starting with? What do you have today that you can build upon? See, this is a continuous improvement project. Program. I said project, my bad. Program. Whether you're talking about configuration management, asset management, or software asset management. And you have to start with where you are, identify where you need to go, identify the gap, and the steps and activities. Now, if you need help with that roadmap, trust me, I'm going to have something on Tuesday, and feel free to sign up for that. I've been doing it live, and I have a complete outline for you. And I do that free of charge because I want to make sure you're successful. Because what I'm finding out is most practitioners today do not think about what tomorrow will bring for them or what they need tomorrow, let alone think about what the real problem is today that they need to start from. That's Mr. Bill. I'm going to shoot out. I'm going to end on that note, but I want you to be successful because when you're successful, you have a plan, your ability, think about the outcome you're going to receive at that point, your ability to take some load off your shoulders, that you've been able to go that next step. When you're able to go that next step and you're able to articulate how you can communicate, think about how management is going to look at you a little differently. Think about your leadership skills, how they're going to build. And lastly, when you're successful, and you go home, think about how much more time you're going to have with your loved ones. Yeah, I went there. That's also important because we use so much of our time, our day to day on the work side. We don't think about what happens on the home front. Trust me. And I have a friend of mine that says he doesn't like when I trust me, but doesn't like the word because I overuse trust too much. But I can tell you from experience, traveling 120% travel for over 20 years on projects, etc., it wears a toll on you. It does. I also made sure my kids, and still today as adults, understand where I've been, why I did it, and make sure we're aligned the best that we can so we're able to move forward. Are we perfect? We're not going to be. Are we looking for the best that we can be to move forward? Absolutely. And that's what I wish for you. So, Mr. Bill, I'm going to sign off at this point. You be safe. Don't do anything too crazy. I appreciate everything that you do. And if there's anything I can do, please feel free to reach out. And lastly, I'm going to put out here, feel free to look at my schedule me for a one-on-one. This one-on-one session is just for you. So do some one-on-one sessions. I'm still having them and I will continue to have them because they've been very successful. But I want to make that one-on-one available to you so you're successful in your entire upcoming year and activities. Thank you for your time and you have yourself a great day.